What's up, Wall fans, Common Sensors, podcast consumers? Welcome to the video feed for episode 82 of Common Sense Sundays with Go Tell It to the Wall, hosted by me, of course, your absolute favorite podcast host, the one and only Sean O'Rourke. Getting a little bit of a late start today, not for any reason. I just was futzing around all day. And I will tell you, you might hear some screaming in the background. Everything is fine. My 5-year-old has a friend over. They are running around, getting in the pool and stuff. And I think it's only a matter of time until they're running up and down my hallway here near the studio. So that being said, let's get right into episode 82.
One, two, three, go tell it to the wall. Tell it to the wall. Go tell it to the wall. Tell it to the wall.
All right, Wall fans, Common Sensors, podcast consumers. Welcome to another very exciting edition of Common Sense Sundays with Go Tell It to the Wall, hosted by me, of course, your absolute favorite podcast host, the one and only Sean O'Rourke. And we are back. That's right. We had a little week break there, and we're back now. It was 4th of July, and we'll get into why I was unavailable on our usual Sunday time. You know, in the past, we've done these possible 4th of July episodes, and no reason for that shit this year. Technically, I was at a barbecue on the 4th, but we were not really celebrating the 4th of July. We were simply getting together and taking the day off as an opportunity to enjoy some food and drinks with some friends. But I felt no reason to have a 4th of July themed episode similar to what we've done, you know, in the past. We've done the Star Spangled episode, and I don't know, we've done all these things. Not this year. There's no need. I will say, there will definitely be less F-bombs this episode compared to last episode. I will rein it in a little bit. As you know, I think I've said this before, but I'm pretty sure we did set a record in episode 81 for F-bombs, with good reason. You can probably take that one and compare it to the episode shortly after January 6th and of 2021, and it's going to be very similar, but I'm pretty sure that one won out. But before we get into the meat of everything and talk about our usual common sense on this fine Sunday, we always kick things off with our social plugs. You can keep up with us during episodes, after episodes, for episodes, whenever you so please, and you can do that in multiple locations. One of those would be facebook.com/GoTellItToTheWall. That's right, facebook.com/GoTellItToTheWall. Pretty easy to remember. Just got to remember Go Tell It to the Wall. And in fact, you can do the same thing for YouTube at youtube.com/GoTellItToTheWall. Again, youtube.com/GoTellItToTheWall. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. Check out all of our great video content that gets posted up there. A lot of stuff that doesn't necessarily get posted to Facebook. So if you use both of those, make sure you're also subscribed to YouTube, because there's going to be stuff that doesn't get posted to Facebook that is on YouTube. So that'll keep you updated on everything. And of course, my own personal Instagram account, which is SoCalSean, at SoCalSean, rather, SoCalSean, at SoCalSean, right there on the Instagram. And I've got a backlog of content that's coming through on the Instagram over the next few days, and you'll know why when I get into some concert recaps and show recaps here. It's been a busy couple of weeks on the show front and a lot of other things. So if you're an Instagram user, make sure you're following me on there. All kinds of great content coming your way. As I've said before, not always Go Tell It to the Wall or Common Sense Sundays content, but a lot of great content. So make sure you're following over there if you're an Instagram user. And of course, more important than all of those social platforms would be SeanO'RourkeLive.com. That's right, SeanO'RourkeLive.com. That is the official website for anything and everything that is Go Tell It to the Wall, Common Sense Sundays, Go Tell It to the Brewery, and of course, me personally, Sean O'Rourke. So make sure you bookmark that one, check back often. You're also going to find a link to our Patreon campaign through SeanO'RourkeLive.com. Please help us out if you have the means to do so and you want to help us out financially. Every little bit helps. You can give us $1, $2, $10, $200. You know, whatever you see fit to help us out with, you can do right there on Patreon. And if you don't want to join up with Patreon and support us that way, you can also support us by picking up some Common Sense merch through the merch website, which is linked directly from SeanO'RourkeLive.com. You see a little tab at the top says merch. Hit that one up. You're going to find all kinds of great Common Sense merch. And I don't want to put people off from ordering right now, but the new logo is getting added to the merch shop in the next week or so. So if you're looking forward to the new logo, which for those of you on the video feed, it's been up before, but there it is again. That would be the newest Go Tell It to the Wall logo. We're going to have that up on some merch very soon. Just got to do some updating to the merch website. So look forward to that as well. All right. let's get into some digital trends. I got to tell you, it's been very hot today. And the past couple weeks, I'm dying here in LA. I got myself in the pool, the pool that we have a couple weeks ago. Usually it's just my kid in there, but when it gets to a certain point, when we're hitting triple digits, I'm getting up in that pool. I gotta just gotta get up in there, and that's why my 5-year-old's got a friend over, and they're going nuts in the backyard right now, just splashing around in that pool. I'm probably gonna go down there later, and things gonna be half empty because all the water just sloshed out of there. All right, now that I've tangented already, let's talk about those digital trends. All right, hashtag gentle minion. Hashtag gentle minion. This is a thing that's trending on the platforms right now, and I'm sure it's a lot of it's TikTok. This seems like one of those TikTok trends that could be happening. And so I saw this trending, and I was like, what are we doing here? And right away, it has to do with Minions. There's a new Minions movie out, like The Rise of Gru or whatever. I'm quite familiar because I spent time at Universal Home Entertainment under Universal Studios, so quite familiar with a lot of those characters. Movie's doing quite well. And when you first look at this trend, it could seem harmless. And what it is kids are dressing up in suits, and they're going to see screenings of the new Minions movie in theaters. And so there's a lot of viral clips out there of groups of, it seems like mainly like teenage boys that are dressing up in suits and going to these screenings. And then, taking videos. That's fine. I get it. I still have friends that'll do like steak night, and they're putting on a suit and tie. It takes a lot to get me into a suit and tie. In fact, I had a friend ask me, he's like, "You have suits?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got a couple of. They're for weddings and funerals." That's last time I was in a suit was in December at a wedding, and the last time before that was a couple years before at a wedding. That's just, you have to own a couple suits, like at least one, but get yourself a couple so you can mix it up. So I don't see any harm in this. However, if you look into it a little more. Apparently what they're doing is they're not being very gentle-minion-y or gentlemanly, I guess, if that's where this is derived from. Because some of these groups of kids are going into theaters and causing a ruckus, yelling and being quite the opposite of a gentleman, I guess, for lack of a better phrase. And because of that, some theaters have, first off, they have tried banning people from wearing suits to the screenings. In addition to that, some theaters have just outright stopped showing Minions, The Rise of Gru, because it's become such an issue with kids coming in and disrupting the movie. Such a common theme with these silly trends and challenges on the social platforms and TikTok. And I've said ever since, we've had harmless, absolutely harmless challenges, and then we have just completely stupid ones. If you want to do something that's harmless or even beneficial, like remember the ice bucket challenge, that's not comfortable, but you're only making yourself uncomfortable, fine. Once you get into the realm of being harmful or influencing people to be harmful to themselves or others, not good. And when you're disrupting a film, and not only, you shouldn't disrupt any film in a theater, but this is also a family film. So imagine you spend $300, because that's about what it costs to go to a movie these days between tickets and food, and obviously that's an exaggeration. But, you got a family of 4, a couple $100 to go to the theater, and you got a group of kids show up and they completely ruin the theater for your younger children who are just wanting to go see a movie and enjoy the new Minions movie. So knock that off. You want to wear some suits? Fine. But let's not ruin the movie-going experience for everyone else. As you can hear, my daughter and her friend, I believe, have made their way into the house, so we'll see how much screaming is going on. My kid has started to hit that age where, it was always exciting when friends came over, but now a friend comes over and it's just screaming, "Ah!" And the other friend, "Ah, ah, ah, ah." I don't know what it is. Kids just like to scream at each other, and happy screaming. Okay, cool. Let's take it down a couple notches. All right, a little more digital trends here. Hashtag Trump is a laughingstock. We always have hashtags like this, and as I always say, these could trend at any given time, considering the stupidity of the Orange Menace and the things that he says and those around him and everything else. This one in particular is trending because the Orange Menace held a rally in Alaska. And just a sidetrack for a moment, there was some complaint about the crowd size, and I was like, well, and no offense to Alaska, but I was like, how many people are in Alaska? You're not in New York, dude. The population's only so big. If you pull half the population, I imagine that's still not a very large crowd. But I digress. So that's only part of it. And he seemed totally unhinged. For those of you who haven't seen this, he dropped an F-bomb during this rally. Now, yes, Wall fans, I drop F-bombs. I yell at a wall. I've not been a president or a politician or really I'm not a real public figure in that way. politicians aren't usually dropping F-bombs at their rallies. That's just not something that happens. So it seems he's becoming at least a little bit unhinged here, which it's like, how low can you go? It's like limbo. How low can you go? And like, we're just going to keep going lower with this guy. It's amazing to me. And then, of course, we had another trend that essentially was spawned from this rally, and Tina Fey is currently trending on the social platforms right now. Now, I had a little freak out. I was like, uh-oh, what's going on? What's wrong with Tina Fey? Nope. The reason she is trending is, of course, Sarah Palin was at this Orange Menace rally up there in Alaska because, of course, she is from Alaska, or, was the senator from Alaska at one time. And apparently she is so unhinged as well that the reason Tina Fey is trending on the social platforms right now is Palin is so crazy that Tina Fey can't even play her anymore because it's just, there's nothing, you can't exaggerate it anymore, and that's how crazy she is. So I guess good on you, Sarah Palin. You've just embraced that role and taken on full-on crazy from one of, again, years ago, we all thought she was nuts, and then it just gets crazier and crazier. You gotta love politicians like that, except that they're a danger to our well-being. But it's kind of funny to see these politicians become so unhinged at any given time. And I will say, speaking of politicians becoming unhinged, we have Bobo. Oh, Bobo and her tweeting and all the other things she does. That's Lauren Boebert from Colorado. Here. Again, how dumb can you be? She decided to go out tweeting that it's tough to be a Christian in America these days, and she's tired of the separation of church and state. It's tough to be a Christian in America? It has never been tough to be a Christian in America. So, of course, white, middle-class, dumbass from Colorado who is somehow a congresswoman, she's being persecuted, Wall fans, for being a Christian. Really? You don't have a fucking clue what persecution is. Not to mention that, but your party just took away the rights of more than half of the citizens of this country. Who's being persecuted, Bobo? Not Christians. Christians are running the Supreme Court right now and enacting laws that shouldn't be enacted based on separation of church and state. So I don't want to hear this bullshit about it's tough to be a Christian, It's like, really? It's never been tough to be a Christian. Can you look around? For those of you not on the video, I'm just flailing my hands wildly because, come on now. You're talking to someone who grew up Catholic. I've been on both sides of this, for Christ's sake. Nobody's getting persecuted. It's not tough to be a Christian. It's pretty fucking great for them right now. In fact, they're holding these rallies and saying, yes, we took away the rights of all the women in this country. Give me a fucking break. All right, one more thing here on digital trends, and I don't even want to talk about this guy much, as he was piling on a good part of what I'm going to talk about in mental health here. I'm done with the guy, but we got to mention it. Elon Musk not purchasing Twitter. So all you tweeters out there that were, oh my God, it's going to be ruined, and I'm like that. You can calm down now. He pulled his offer off the table. And here's the ridiculous thing about rich white men in this country. He pulled away his $44 million offer to buy Twitter. And because he pulled out of the deal, he has to pay $1 billion. He's so rich that he's paying $1 billion to not buy a company. I think he's got some money to spare. Maybe we can help out in places that actually need help. Not worrying about free speech. That's in finger quotes, free speech on Twitter. Give me a break, Musk. All right, let's talk some COVID updates. I'm so tired of talking about COVID, and each week I try to whittle this down. I'm like, we're just going to talk about two things. We're going to talk about one. There's a couple things here, though. And I'm going to bring it up like I have every week for the past 2 years, however long we've been doing Common Sense Sundays. It's not done. Unless you're living under a rock, you can see that there are positive tests still popping up everywhere. Every day I wake up to either friends or acquaintances on social media posting about how they have a positive test. I've gotten texts and, hey, I had a positive test. We were hanging out a week ago. Get it, it's not going away. And in fact, the Hella Mega Tour, there's been tons of positives from the UK leg of the Hella Mega Tour with Green Day and Fall Out Boy and Weezer. And Amyl and the Sniffers was on that instead of Interrupters. But as I'm in one of these like Hell Omega groups and people, positive test, positive. Like, all right, we're nowhere near done. And in fact, it's pretty obvious here in Los Angeles because there's a lot of talk right now about mask mandates possibly coming back. The talk is mask mandates coming back in LA County, possibly by the end of the month, which we've heard this before. So I don't know if it's actually going to happen. Here's the thing, Wall fans. Common sense says just be smart. I go to the grocery store, I'm wearing a mask. I'm inside somewhere, I'm wearing a mask. If I'm around a bunch of people inside, I'm wearing a mask. I don't wear a mask in my own house. But if I'm around people that I don't know, especially that I don't know well, I'm wearing a mask. It's just smart. Just do what you need to do to keep yourself from getting sick. That's really all it comes down to. And that's all I'm going to talk about with COVID this week. I'm so done with talking about COVID. I'm not done with COVID because it's not going anywhere. I feel like I'm just a broken alarm clock, I feel like I'm pulling the wrong analogy there, Wall fans. Somebody's gonna hit me up with the right analogy that I'm looking for. Broken record. Good Lord. Because I never talk about records, so why would that one come to mind? My brain's not quite. It's the heat, Wall fans. It is absolutely the heat. I'm still adjusting to this 90 plus degree heat that we're getting every day now. Ugh. Thank God for central air. That's all I can say. All right, let's talk some mental health. We've talked a little bit about this before, but I want to get into it again because it is, once again, at the forefront of a lot of topics around mass shootings and mental illness and mental health right now, and that'd be SSRIs. These SSRIs are medications like Lexapro, it's all of those. Zoloft, there's quite a few out there, can also apply to antidepressants. Well, here we go with that Marge down there in Georgia. She decided to come out and say that SSRIs are the reason that we have mass shootings. Yeah, she said that. SSRIs. She also decided to lump in marijuana with that, which, here's the thing, Wolf. Have you ever met someone who likes to smoke a lot of marijuana? They're not usually not looking to pick up a big gun and shoot people. They're looking for Taco Bell. They're watching some episodes of The Simpsons. That's tends with, or if they get real creative, they're painting something. It's like, what? No, it's not. Those don't usually go hand in hand. But we'll leave that alone. The SSRIs thing is what really gets me. Marge blaming medicine, and this is why there continues to be a stigma. When stuff like this comes out and it trends and everything else, and especially in this day and age where information moves so fast because of technology, this is why we can't get rid of that stigma. And there's a lot of things that go into that. But here's the bottom line. SSRIs are vital. Antidepressants are vital. There are certain people out there that need these to function, myself included. And in fact, I've said this before. Well, and first of all, others joining. That's why I said about Musk. He's coming out and talking about SSRIs now. It's like, okay, that's enough. If you're not a doctor, don't talk about these kind of medicines. And I will admit, because somebody will go back to old episodes, and there can be a problem with over-medicating. I have been there as well. But the problem is, it's a fine line to get. You need to find the right doctor that is going to get you the right medication, the right amount of medication, everything else. It is a process. It's a journey. It doesn't just happen overnight. And you will run into doctors out there that maybe don't know the best thing that's right for you. I've been there as well. I had a doctor years ago where I said, I'm still having trouble. And, well, up this dose. And it was like, well, I don't know if that's helping. We just don't. And you can get over-medicated. But the bottom line is we cannot just dismiss all of them when it's something vital for a lot of people to function in everyday life. And that's the problem is people see this and they're not going to get help because they think it's going to, I hate to say this, but they think it's going to make them go on a mass shootings. I don't even understand the connection that we have somehow put there, that Marge can somehow do these things. She's just a professional troll. And the other thing that really gets me is she's SSRIs and marijuana. Have you seen her, like the shit she does? She's like all CrossFit and stuff and having affairs with guys at the gym. And how about steroids, Marge? I'm not trying to sit here and talk bad about steroids, but the side effects from steroids tend to be closer to what you're talking about than the side effects from SSRIs and antidepressants. That's the bottom line. And here's why it is extra important at times like this, and this is why I'm using the mental health section this week to talk about it. We need to make our voices heard. If this is something you are passionate about, something you understand, make your voice heard. That way people will understand that we don't need this stigma around it. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to get help. It's okay to not be okay. You're creating this really huge hole for anyone that deals with mental health problems or mental illness. And the only way we can fight back at that is, and it's not even fighting back, just fight back with information, knowledge, education. That's what we need when it comes to fighting this fight against ignorant assholes like Marge and Musk and any others that are out there making people believe they're broken because they need help. Those are the people that are broken. And that's the bottom line. And again, I say this every time. If I'm not a doctor, but if someone out there's listening and you need help, I've been doing this for, 20 plus years dealing with mental illness. I can give you my opinion to an extent. Don't take it as medical advice. And I can also hook you up with someone that can give you real help. And if you don't want to hit me up, follow Punk Rock Saves Lives on mental health on Facebook or any of those. There's lots of groups out there where you can get support. And those groups are vital at a time like this. So make your voices heard. Don't just let the stigma overtake everybody. Fight ignorance with knowledge. And that's what we have to do in these situations. All right, let's talk some positive news. Speaking about medications, story out of California recently, where Governor Gavin Newsom, he has a plan to fight the rising costs of insulin. And one of his ways of doing it is he has earmarked a bunch of money from the state of California. And I'll remind everyone that the state of California is, somebody said fifth the other day. It might have been moved up somehow. Fifth or sixth largest economy in the world. In the world. If you just take California, the state itself. Surplus, budget surplus. So one way of using that is I'm not doing it. Experts who have this knowledge are going to start manufacturing insulin in California. And that is the way to combat the rising prices of insulin. I never know these exact prices offhand, I'll be honest. I've never had to take insulin regularly. But for people who are diabetic, it's literally vital to their life. Literally. And the cost of insulin has been constantly rising over the past few years. And of course, if you know me, insulin should be free, without a doubt. But this is at least a step in the right direction to combat that price gouging. And as always, I am thankful for California. So good on you, California. Good on you, Newsom. You do a lot of dumb stuff, but sometimes stuff like this is important. And in fact, sidetrack for a minute, Newsom ran ads in Florida over the 4th of July weekend, talking about how good old Ronnie down there, DeSantis, how terrible of a job he's doing in his state. Ultimate troll job right there. Just ultimate. And I don't like trolls, but good on you, Gavin. You don't do everything right, but that was a good one. I gotta admit that. All right, some parenting here. Summer activities in full swing. Full swing. And one thing after another. I told you my kids running around the pool right now. Who knows where they are? The dog's probably running around chasing them. It's madness in my house, in my yard right now, which is fine. I appreciate it. It's summertime. I want the kid to gotta have some fun, and she's at that age where you gotta kind of keep them constantly entertained. I remember when the kid was 2, and it's like, well, here, let's do a puzzle. Let's read a book. Oh, it's time for bed. And I'm exaggerating, but now it's like, oh God, constant stimulation. Like, what do we got? What crafts do we got? We got a pool. We got all these other things, and camp, field trips, classes, and of course the pool. Like I said, I was just as busy as the school year. She had a sports camp this morning, learning some sports, and then now she's out swimming. She'll have school camp all this week. She's got dance. It's one thing after another, and it's great. That's how you got to keep them occupied. And I'm thankful for the pool because it's been so hot that I'm just like, I want to go swimming here. Throw her in a pool. Cool off, kid. Oh man. Oh, and hot tip for anyone out there. I think it's almost done, but no matter where you live, you can probably find things similar. So yesterday, with some other friends, we went out to Northridge and caught this this youth performance of Frozen. It was called Frozen Junior, and had the actual Disney music in it. They like licensed the music from Disney and everything else. And apparently it's a youth theater camp, and not little, not like my kid youth. Like somebody said 14 to 18-year-olds. I think there was some younger kids there, but let's say 12 to 18 youth theater camp. And to raise money for the camp, they put on these performances. Now, it's not a Broadway performance, of course. It is youth theater. But my 5-year-old, clapping, laughing, singing along, having a ball. I was laughing myself, despite the fact that I've seen Frozen 356 times. Not the play, the movie. This is the first time I'd seen it on stage. Quite entertaining. So I encourage you, if you live in Southern California, to maybe check that one out, or support youth theater camps in your own community while also entertaining your kids. It's kind of amazing how that works. So definitely check that stuff out. I will say it was in Northridge. It was in the Valley. Those of you familiar with Southern California, good Lord, it's hot over there. I complain about the heat here, and then I go to the Valley. I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's what freaking heat is like. So I don't recommend, if you're going to go somewhere that's hotter, make sure you got your water bottles and all that good stuff. Hydrate, sunscreen, all that good stuff. All right, and I will say, based on this 4th of July, finally, I've talked about it in previous years, my child was terrified of fireworks. Would not go to sleep, did not like the fireworks. Finally turned a corner this year to the point that it got like, okay, I realize there's fireworks out there. We don't need to see every single firework. It was just, she was fascinated this year by the fireworks. Wasn't too loud. In fact, this was the ultimate test for the dog, you know, because we get fireworks here and there year round. And the couple weeks leading up to the 4th, you get a few. But the 4th of July, it is nuts. I mean, there's the weather, the air quality is not healthy on the 4th of July and the day after, and you can see it. If you walk outside, it's smoke everywhere. It looks like there's a fire nearby, but it's everyone lighting off these stupid fireworks. So the dog's been okay to an extent, but when it got crazy on the 4th, didn't want to go for a walk. And but luckily he was okay inside, so it wasn't too bad. But and then because of that, my kid, you gotta love kids. She's pep talking the dog, kind of the way we talked to her when she was younger. Said the fireworks are not going to hurt you; they're just loud. I know it can be scary, but you're going to be okay. She's pep talking the dog. So we see things like that. My wife even said it. She's like, sometimes we are doing things right. I'm like, we're doing things right a lot. It just doesn't feel like it in the moment. And speaking about fireworks, again, what the hell were we celebrating this year with the 4th of July? If you're out there celebrating the 4th of July itself and waving flags and everything else, give me a break. I flew my California state flag all weekend for the 4th of July because I have no respect for the American flag right now because our federal government has taken away the rights of more than half the population of this country. So get out of here with that. On top of that, I'm so sick of the illegal fireworks. You should see, like, here's the thing. If you're not in Southern California and you see videos of Los Angeles and it's like a helicopter, you see fireworks everywhere, where there's a giant concentration of it is essentially where I live. It's ridiculous. Now, my parents have lost a home to fire. I don't fuck around with fire. I don't think it's funny. I don't think any of that. Trees in our neighborhood literally caught on fire. Literally. And then check out some of those other videos. I saw one in particular, like on July 5th, where a family messed up and the fireworks didn't go off right, and then it looked like it caught some other fireworks. And kids were like right next to these explosives. It's explosives. It's freaking gunpowder, everyone. That's what you're doing. Explosives. If you're not a professional, stop messing with the fireworks. And all I could think of watching that video is I was like, it's all fun and games until you kill your kid with a firework. I mean, literally, there's kids running from explosives. There's no excuse for that. And my dog, like I said, he was okay inside. Couldn't even go outside to take a shit that night. I tried to take him. I had to carry him outside. I set him down on the grass, and he immediately ran to the door. I was like, all right, bud. And it was at that point I was like, you know what? If you poop, luckily we got hardwood floor. I was like, if you poop on my floor, I'm not even going to be mad because it's not your fault, bud. And that's 4th of July in Los Angeles, man. I'll tell you. Ugh. All right, some more common sense here. Doja Cat. Talking about Doja Cat for some reason. She's a singer from what I understand. Very popular because I see her name pop up. I couldn't tell you a single song of hers. That doesn't mean she's terrible. It's just it's not my genre of music, I guess. But she's in the news right now, and social media news, I guess. Not serious news. She's feuding with Noah Schnapp. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Noah Schnapp. He's actually Will from Stranger Things, for those of you not familiar with the actors' names. He went on, and apparently, and this is not something I know because I enjoy Stranger Things, and maybe we'll recap it next week. I didn't have time this week to recap. I got all these shows to recap. But apparently he's like literally spoiled Stranger Things plot lines like on his social media. He's known to accidentally do these things and leak these things. Well, Doja Cat sent him some DMs trying to get hooked up with one of his co-stars, the actor who plays Eddie Munson on the most recent season of Stranger Things. And apparently what Noah did was posted a screenshot of the DMs. And Doja Cat lost her mind. And she lost her mind at Noah Schnapp first. And then she lost her mind at everyone else on social media for being like, dude, what is your problem? She's like, you're all, and called about like, you're all losers and blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing. Now I have this knowledge because I had to look it up. Doja Cat is 26. 26. Technically an adult. Now, we all remember our 20s. I was not very smart in my 20s. I get that. Noah Schnapp, 17. 17. We have an adult asking a minor to hook her up with his 29-year-old co-star. And I actually saw a screenshot of this, and she's like, I can't find him on Instagram. And he's like, no, he's right here on Instagram. All you had to do was search Instagram, and you could have messaged him yourself. It's just comical at this point. I gotta be honest. Like, I don't care where this goes, but now it's fun watching this Doja Cat or whatever kind of melt down on social media. It's like, you were wrong, girl. You're in the wrong here. Like, you post your DMs, just be like, oh, you shouldn't post people's DMs. Just leave it at that. Like, you're done. Don't dig yourself a hole. But apparently she dug herself a hole. And the bottom line is, he's 17. I did a lot of stupid shit in my 20s. I wasn't hitting up someone I barely knew that was 17 and asking them to hook me up with a 29-year-old. It's not something I was doing in my mid-20s. That's just common sense. All right. Oh, Arizona. Arizona. I love you to an extent. You got a good music scene out there. I have some friends that live out there that are, fortunately on the common sense side of things. But your politicians, not so great. In fact, Arizona just passed a law saying you cannot film police activity or police officers within 8 feet of them. I actually kind of get this. I get that you don't want people that close to police officers. Here's the thing. That's where common sense should just come in. If somebody's videotaping and interfering with an investigation or interfering with a crime, whatever it might be, yeah, then you need to push them back. But this is where police should be helping the community, not hindering the community. Because what's going to happen is when police don't want to be filmed, they're simply going to push themselves gradually closer to whoever's videoing them. And then once they get within 8 feet, that person's breaking the law. Instead of just using the spirit of the law and saying like, hey, don't get in the fucking way. Do you see the difference there? And here's the thing. You always hear people, don't break the law, and you won't have to deal with the police, and, he should have complied, and that's why he got beat up or whatever. Well, let me put that back to you, police officers in Arizona. If you're not doing anything wrong, why are you worried about being videotaped? It goes both ways. You can't just have it how you want it. It goes both ways. Do your job correctly, and you shouldn't have to worry about these things. Sorry. Those police officers should have followed the rules, much like that person should have complied with police orders. So it goes both ways. That's how it works. Oh, Morton's. Morton's. You ever been to Morton's Steakhouse? Pretty good steakhouse. I enjoy it. I used to frequent the Morton's in Burbank because my building was right down the street, and if I had a high-end client that liked steak, then we were absolutely going to Morton's. It was the spot to go. Well, the Morton's this must have been, I assume it's in Washington, D.C. I don't care enough to know exactly where it is. They were in the news this week. As apparently Justice Brett Kavanaugh, that useless piece of shit, was having dinner at Morton's, enjoying a nice steak, because he's well taken care of being a Supreme Court justice and has that appointment for life, enjoying a steak, and apparently got a little upset because some protesters were outside, not physically assaulting anybody, simply making their voices heard. Well, Kavanaugh did not feel safe, so he felt the need to leave out the back door after he finished his meal. Now, to be fair, he did not get to eat his dessert, but he still got to eat his steak. Oh no, you left out the back door? Because some people are standing out front, not being violent, not doing anything. No death threats. Simply making their voices heard. And then, of course, we have one side of the aisle who's saying, well, no, they have the right to eat in peace. At this point, Supreme Court has no right to anything because they took away the body rights, the personal body rights of all women in this country. Make them uncomfortable. Don't be violent. Don't threaten death. Make them uncomfortable. Not a single Supreme Court justice should be able to sit in a restaurant and have dinner peacefully. Go sit in your fucking house. And it's the pearl clutching is just amazing to me. Because you're worried that a guy is getting harassed in a restaurant? Where's that passion for the women who've lost their rights in this country? And on top of that, they're never making a stink when certain members of Congress are receiving death threats. The same people who are complaining that a Supreme Court justice was harassed while eating dinner at an expensive steakhouse are pretty much the same people who are like, oh no, January 6th was a peaceful protest. Give me a fucking break. Again, you can't have it both ways. Common sense says we don't try to overthrow the government, but really, if you can just look at it from a common sense standpoint, you cannot have it both ways. And he's not getting death threats. Nobody's out there trying to shoot him. They're just making their voices heard. The only way to get any kind of action is to make people uncomfortable like that. Make these sons of bitches uncomfortable. Keep it up. None of them should be enjoying a steak at a steakhouse right now. They don't deserve it. Again, do it peacefully. Loud, but peacefully. All right, let's talk some entertainment news. That's what I love. It's like, I'm so uncomfortable eating my steak. Yeah, how about all the women in this country? How do they feel, asshole? It's really amazing to me. It's just genuinely amazing to me. All right, some entertainment news, like I said. Last episode, I mentioned the Unwritten Law live stream that was going to be happening that evening. I took the time to watch it. Thoroughly enjoyed it. For those of you that are longtime Unwritten Law fans, I don't know if you can still find it. It was actually pre-recorded. I thought it was going to be a live stream, but it was the Soma show that I was kicking myself for not going to. And it was very nostalgic. They played they played Superman. They played Denied. I was like, oh my God. And even ended it out with CPK. And they also played one of their new songs, Ghosted, which is now available as a single. You can get it right now. It's on all the streaming platforms. I'm sure you can also download it on like iTunes and purchase it. I tend to not do that. I wait until the whole album comes out. Of course, I did listen to it because it's available on YouTube. And I will say, it's an okay song, but for those of you that have been longtime Unwritten Law fans, you know how this works. They put out a single, and it's definitely not the best one on their album, the first one that comes out. So just be patient. We will get the full album on July 29th. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm hoping Scott gets them up here to the Glass House very, very, very soon, because I have not seen Unwritten Law in a couple years. Oh, I used to have the ticket stub right there. I haven't seen them since like 2019, other than on a stream like a couple weeks ago. So I'm hoping that they'll be back out here in L.A., or maybe I'll have to make a trip to San Diego, which is not a big deal. I wanted to go to that Soma show. It's just like, with the atmosphere down there. It's a little too red down there with the atmosphere right now, and I know I will say something, and someone will get upset, and I'll be using common sense, and they'll be using ignorance, and then it won't be a good situation. All right, Chaser at the Roxy. That's right. We got a few shows that happened between last episode and this episode. Over last Saturday, I had the privilege of seeing Chaser out there at the Roxy. Fantastic show. I don't usually like going to Hollywood, but the thing is, if I have to go to Hollywood for a show, I'd much rather go to the Roxy or the Whiskey as opposed to the Palladium and whatever that other one, the Fonda or whatever that other one is down there, because it's at least you're a little detached from the craziness of Hollywood. I think anyone in Southern California, or really L.A. area, Hollywood area, you spend some time partying in Hollywood at a certain age, and then you realize, like, oh, that's a waste of time and money, and you don't go do that so much anymore. But well worth heading out to Hollywood to see Chaser at the Roxy. I actually took some time I sat down for dinner at the Rainbow Room, right next door to the Roxy. So I had a nice little cheeseburger, had my belly full, nice little pre-show beer, heading into the Roxy for Chaser. And as always, Chaser does not disappoint. I've never been to a Chaser show where they were not on their A game, and this was another one of those instances. And I will also say Ignite, who I hadn't seen in years. They're a melodic hardcore band out of Orange County. If you're into that type of music, definitely check them out. They put on a fantastic show. They actually got a new lead singer in 2021. I thought he did a fantastic job. I haven't gotten around to listening to the full album, but it did kind of reinvigorate my Ignite fandom. And I was like, oh yeah, I own some Ignite albums. I'm going to listen to these while I work out this week. And like I said, they have a new album that just came out recently. And I've heard nothing but good things about it. Just haven't gotten around to listening to it. So if you're into that type of music or you're an Ignite fan, check it out. And like I said, with the new lead singer, they didn't lose anything with the new lead singer. And in fact, they were very much railing against the Supreme Court and women's rights being taken away in this country. And they have a cover of Sunday Bloody Sunday by U2. I am not a U2 fan personally, but they do a fantastic job with the cover. Because for those of you that aren't aware, Sunday Bloody Sunday is a protest song. It is a protest song. So they brought that out in honor of all the women in this country as well as the people of Ukraine fighting against a fascist regime in Russia. And, of course, Guttermouth was rounding out the night, and I left during the first one or two songs of Guttermouth because it's Guttermouth. No offense if you love Guttermouth. Not really for me. I also feel like I catch them every 5 days. It's like, oh, blah, 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 and Guttermouth. And then, oh, such and such, and Guttermouth. And you're like, okay, I don't need to see Guttermouth that many times. But I digress. All right, and then weekend full of shows last weekend. That was Saturday. Moving on to Sunday. Had a rare matinee show. Not at the theater or the movie theater or, at the play or anything. Matinee show. Fight Betty Fight. And for those of you seeing the video feed, I'm actually wearing my Fight Betty Fight shirt. Picked one of these up in support of Betty Cisneros and her battle with breast cancer. This was an event that was put on as a fundraiser for Betty. So all the proceeds were going toward Betty's treatment and recovery. And so that in itself. And I took my wife and 5-year-old. I said, we're all going. Even if you decide last minute you don't want to go, that money's just going to a good cause anyway, so let's go. So we go out there, and the support was awesome to see. It was absolutely awesome. And even after I'd bought tickets, they announced that Lynn Lee and Jenny Cottrell of Bad Cop were going to be doing an acoustic set to open the show. They killed it, of course. And in fact, I will say Lynn had a very personal, very real song about women's rights. And like I said, personal, that she had just written. And we had the privilege of hearing it. And it hit really, really deep. So I encourage you to, if you have a chance to see Lynn and or Jenny play an acoustic set, definitely do so. It was fantastic. And I'll tell you, my wife is obsessed with Lynn. She liked Bad Cop to begin with. But now that she has seen Lynn and met her briefly, seen Lynn do an acoustic set, she's like, oh my God. She loves Lynn now, even more than she did before. And then, of course, the Dolly Rots are always fantastic. They put on a awesome set. In fact, my 5-year-old, she knew the Dolly Rots music. That was the first time seeing them live. And now she's absolutely obsessed with the Dolly Rots, which is fantastic. And not only obsessed, but she became friends with the Dolly Tots, River and Daisy Dolly Tot of the Dolly Rots. That's Kelly and Lewis's children. And Daisy, go to find out, is her birthday is 11 days apart from my daughter's birthday. They are just about the same age. So they hit it off. They're dancing like crazy. And at one point, I'm talking to Kelly, and she goes, oh, let's take a picture with the girls and the two of us. And so Kelly takes a selfie, and we're talking for a few minutes. And then she looks at her phone. She gets a text. And at this point, Go Betty Go was close to finishing their set. We're like right between the green room and where they're playing. And she goes, oh, my God, I got to get out there. And I see Rivers coming walking down the stairs. And I was like, I got the kids. Just go get up there. And she runs to find Lewis, runs back down the stairs, and heads up to the stage for the finale because they brought all the musicians back up on the stage with Go Betty Go for kind of the finale there. So I'm walking around. Now I've suddenly got 3 kids with me. And I go walking back into the main area. And my wife turns to me. She's like, because she sees Kelly and Lewis go up on stage. She knows those are their kids. She goes, are you in charge of these kids now? And I was like, yep, just until they get off the stage. So it was a fun moment. So, and there's a couple blurry pictures of me dancing with 3 kids while everyone's up on stage for Fight Betty Fight. And again, fantastic to see all the support. All of the bands did a great job. Johnny Madcap, that band always does a great job. They brought it. Obviously, Betty did not play guitar because she is dealing with chemo and everything else, so they had another guitarist come in. He did a fantastic job. And it was great meeting new people, seeing old friends out there, and all there to support a good cause. And selfishly, we got some great freaking music out of it. It was fantastic, and it was at the Paramount in downtown, or in Boyle Heights, which is not a far drive for me. Free parking, and that bad. We're driving home in the car, and I'm with my sis Laura's in the car with us too. And I turn around and it's like 8:00 or like 7:45, and we're driving home. I'm like, Laura, we're done with the show, and it is light outside. What is going on right now? Because we're both a little old for those sets that start at 11:30 at night. I'll do them, but if you can give me a set like an 8:30 start versus like an 11:30 start for a band I love, give me the 8:30 all day, or a 3:00 matinee show. Give me more of these matinee shows, please. All right. And if you, I don't know, they might have these shirts available online. Proceeds are probably going to Betty's fight against cancer, and there's also a GoFundMe. I'll post it to the Go Tell the Wall Facebook page. But if you want to find it before it actually gets posted up there, I had a long list of stuff that's got to get posted up there. Just search Go Betty Go, and you'll see the GoFundMe, and you can support Betty's fight against cancer financially through there, and even just words of support, any of that stuff. You don't have a lot of money to words of support are also fantastic to show your support in her fight against a terrible, terrible disease. All right, and we got another recap. What? All these recaps. So Thursday, as I said, I don't usually like going to Hollywood for shows, but I had to head out there Thursday as all of the ladies from Bad Cop were playing a show at the Roxy. So I found myself out there on a Thursday night yet again. Well, at the Roxy yet again, this time on a Thursday night, which is a little easier, because that's the thing, is I would do... This is really for the Southern California people, or if you're familiar with Southern California. I was at the Roxy on a Saturday. There was a bowl event that night. Good Lord, you try to stay away from Hollywood when there's something going on at the bowl. If you know, you know. If you don't know, just trust me, it sucks. That was going on. So Thursday was like, oh, this is fantastic. There's a lot less people around here. So, of course, we get to the venue, seeing all the friends. It's Bad Cops, all kinds. Ran into a couple people I didn't even know would be there. And all of them, railed against the Supreme Court, women's rights, everything else. I love, and such passion comes from all four of them, which I love seeing every time, but then especially when they have something extra to be passionate about, and you could see that passion coming out in their music, as it always does. But it was good. It was also good to see a huge crowd of people supporting the common sense that our government doesn't understand. If you want to see real, raw, caring, and passion, get yourself to a punk show. People are always like, oh, they're so scary. There are some spikes on their jackets. And no. It's a bunch of people who are some of the kindest people you'll ever meet. I mean, there's assholes everywhere, but go to a punk show, especially like that kind of punk. No. You're going to get a lot of support, a lot of like-minded people picking you up right away if you fall down in the pit, which was also happening in Bad Cop. And such a fun set. And I had the privilege of, I'm right up at the stage, and I'd seen her walking into the Rainbow Room to do something before coming in, and I'm waiting to get into the Roxy, but it's Remington from the Bomb Pops, one of the guitarists for the Bomb Pops. And so I'm standing there, Bad Cop, literally the curtain had just come up, and I get this tap on my shoulder, and it's Remington and her partner, and I get a big hug, and I'm like, okay. And if you know Remington, she's definitely a little shorter than me, so I was like, all right, get in front. I can see perfectly over you. So I got to watch the whole set. We're having a blast, screaming, singing along, yelling, clapping, all kinds of stuff, dancing. It was just a fantastic time. They always do such a good job. And then on top of that, so Good Riddance played, and I've seen Good Riddance many times over the years. Enjoyed it. But I'll tell you, I'd kind of forgotten Hot Water Music was headlining that show. Kind of forgot how much I liked them. And then I'm standing there with my good buddy John, who was also at the show, and I hadn't heard any of their new music. I hadn't really heard Hot Water Music in a few years, and I was like, "Whoa, that's a good one!" Each time he's like, "Oh yeah, that's off the," and he had told me, at the previous Roxy show, because John was also there seeing Chaser. He's like, "Yeah, the new Hot Water album's really, really good," and I was like, "Oh okay." But sure enough, as I'm listening, I was like, "Whoa, that's a really good song." He's, "Oh, the new album." There was 3 or 4 songs like that, so I was always a little bit of a fan, but man, they are still killing it. And we'll be listening to a little more hot water music moving forward here. And something about when you see the music live, you're like, and I can see it with my 5-year-old. She liked the Dolly Rots. Now that she's seen them live and met them, and now she's like, Dolly Rots, and she's dancing all over the house and stuff, and much more passion behind it, because once you see a band live, if you like them, then that's what happens. It's kind of, like I said, reignited my fandom of Ignite, because I hadn't seen them in a long time, and so now I find myself listening to Ignite a lot more again. It's always how that works. If you go to shows and you listen to music, if you know what I'm talking about. All right, we're nearing the end here. We're going to be a little bit shorter on time today, but I think that's good, because got kids running around my house yelling and such. It's also very hot, so I'm going to probably go jump in the pool. And as I said, all those shows I just recapped, there's going to be photos getting posted, so make sure you're following the Instagram, or friend me on Facebook, and don't friend me on Facebook and start spamming me with stuff. A lot of people like to do that, and I'm like, hi, yes, thank you. I will add you to the list of bands that have emailed me, and I'll eventually get through them all and possibly talk about you on the podcast. And that's why I didn't have a listening to this week. It's all those. Everybody just listen to them. That's me. Get a Fight Betty Fight shirt. Like, get on it. All right. One more thing before we end for this week. And that would be, of course, Bassists Against Racists. The July design is, of course, out now. It's been out for a little over a week. I think they unveiled it on the 1st or 2nd. They were pretty quick with this one. And the featured artist for July is Vishina Turner of Fatty Cakes and the Puff Pastries. I'll admit I'm not familiar with this music. Now, of course, I will have to go familiarize myself because we here at Go Tell It to the Wall support Bases Against Racists in pretty much everything they do. So that design is now available. Going to be available for pre-order through the end of this month, the end of July. And reminder for everyone, this is, of course, designed by the uber-talented Paul Smith of Zombie Teeth Clothing. Loving this design, as always. All the designs have been great, but this is a particularly good one. This is all the brainchild of the fantastic Lynn Lee of Bad Cop, who we have just talked about. And if you're in the U.S. wanting to pre-order a Basis Against Racist shirt for July, and I believe Canada as well. I'm just going to ask Gabby and confirm this, because I feel like every month I'm like, I think it's Canada too. But if you're in North America, essentially, you're going to order through Chaos Merch. That's with a K. K-A-O-S, Chaos Merch. Pre-order. They all get sent out at the very beginning of the next month, so beginning of August. And if you're in Europe, you're going to order that through T-Mom Merch, T-M-O-M Merch. And all of the proceeds for North American sales go toward Black Lives Matter. And again, I'm going to say I can't remember the charity or organization that the European sales go toward, but it is a good one. I can assure you of that. So make sure you are supporting Basis Against Racists, Zombie Teeth Clothing, Chaos Merch, and T-Mom Merch. Pick those up on pre-order, available right now through any of those. Check them out. All right. Got to look at my calendar, but we should be back on schedule now. I know we're going to miss some shows and whatnot. And in fact, no, in 2 weeks, and I'll probably talk about it again next week, but we got a Wet Hot Skamerican Summer happening down there at Hangar 24 in Irvine. I will absolutely be down there. I will be down there with the entire family. And when I say entire family, I have been given word that this is a dog-friendly outdoor event. There will be an appearance by Falcor in his fancy new vest. So if you're going to be out there, you got some time out in Irvine, I'll be tossing some stickers around and hanging out with all my good friends in 2:30 and all of my good friends that will be out at that show. So hit me up, and I'll talk about it again next week. We should be back next week, same wall place, same wall time. I got to double-check the calendar. Everything's it's all over the place right now. It's just I got some mini vacations and stuff like that, and keeping the kid entertained, all kinds of stuff. So I'll keep you updated through all the social platforms. Speaking of social platforms, make sure you're following us on Facebook, facebook.com/GoTellItToTheWall. Again, facebook.com/GoTellItToTheWall. Also, our YouTube channel, youtube.com/GoTellItToTheWall. Again, youtube.com/GoTellItToTheWall. Make sure you're subscribed on there and check out all of our great video content that gets posted on YouTube. There's video content on Facebook too, but it's more robust on YouTube, I guess. And of course, my own personal Instagram account, which is at SoCalSean, SoCalSean, at SoCalSean. All kinds of great show pics and such coming up over the next few, well, really, probably over the next week. I've got a backlog of stuff that's going to be posted. And in fact, I was telling Remy, I'm so far back on photos, and I feel I cannot say it to her again, because the past like 3 times I've seen Remington, I'm like, oh, I have such great photos of you from Ventura, Punk and Drublic, because we were right in front of Remington. I got some good shots. And I'm like, I'll send them to you. And she's like, next time I say it, she's going to be like, sure, Sean. Like, so I'm at a point. That was March. Got a lot to catch up on here. So that's how my week's going to be spent. But make sure you're following at SoCalSean so you can get all that great photo content. And of course, SeanWillWorkLive.com. Bookmark that one. Check back often for updates. You're going to find exclusive content up there. You're also going to find a link to our Patreon campaign. Help us out financially on Patreon. Help out other artists that you love and follow and admire. And if you don't want to do that, you can help us out. Support us by picking up some merch through the merch website, which links directly from SeanWillWorkLive.com. All right. That is going to do it for episode 82 of Common Sense Sundays with Go Tell It to the Wall, hosted by me, your absolute favorite podcast host, the one and only Sean O'Rourke. And remember, Wall fans, Common Sensors podcast consumers, no matter what you do, no matter where you go, no matter who you're with, and especially no matter why you are doing it, always use common sense.